Hello and welcome to another SDM Foundation Tech Talk video for MMTV and YouTube. This video is going to be about Windows 11. Generally speaking, Windows 11 is not all that different from Windows 10. However, there are some visual differences which make it seem like it could be more different than it is, or might throw you off when you initially upgrade from Windows 10. But all in all, it is extremely similar with most of the same features and just some security upgrades as well as some quality of life changes. And I guess some just directional changes that Microsoft had in mind as well. So let's talk about the first things that you might notice that would be different. So just a quick caveat. Can't see my entire screen at the moment, so it sort of extends all the way to the right where we have the date, time, and the sound and all of that, and that is still the same as it was in Windows 10. However, I wanted to be able to show you as much of the taskbar as I could because that is the first thing that you might notice that's different. So, many of you might be wondering why this, the Windows button, and the search bar are in the middle, or what looks like the right, instead of on the left. Well, don't exactly know why, but that is one of the design changes. However, you can set it to be on the left if that's what you choose. And I'll show you how to do that in a moment after we talk about a few other things that they added or changed to the taskbar. So Cortana used to be part of the search bar. Cortana is the Microsoft AI voice assistant. Now it's just there's a little button where Cortana might have been that's open in Edge, basically a Bing search. The ability to have multiple desktops was already available in Windows 10, but I think this addition to the taskbar is new. It's just a little icon that allows you to quickly create a secondary desktop. And that is essentially the same thing as having multiple windows of Chrome or any other internet browser and switching between them. It's the same idea, just for your desktop. All right, and then we also have chat. So chat is a part of Microsoft Teams. So if we were to click on it, it would take us into Microsoft Teams here. And I'm going to go ahead and say use another account because I don't actually want to do that. But that's what this little icon is for. So the default, chat or video communication integration. That's a bit of a fun sentence. That was used in Windows 10 was Skype, but for Windows 11, Microsoft has shifted over to using chat. So essentially Microsoft Teams, which is part of the Office suite, with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. So over here on the left, we have one of my least favorite things, or probably my least favorite thing about Windows 11. And some of it's going to be cut off up at the top just because, once again, my screen is a bit too big to capture everything without while maintaining a decent picture for you guys. So this is what they call widgets in Windows 11, and it basically just allows you to get a bunch of news and you're not able to really turn it off. Some things might be nice, like having, I don't know, your photos or the weather, stocks, but there will always be some sort of news feed. So as much as you might try to, block a bunch of different uh, sites, they will always just find another one. So this is one thing I recommend turning off. Also, slightly out of the screen, I'll bring weather down if it allows me. No, it won't. So let's see. Just outside of the screen, there's a little plus that allows you to add a new widget. So I just clicked on that plus and it gave me these various options, right? So maybe at some point they'll allow you to just turn off the news aspect of it so that you could just have some customized, widgets, sort of like you might have on your phone. Basically, just a tiny display area that is customizable, that has potential interaction built in, like the ability to, see more about these MLB games or something like that. However, at the moment, it involves all of the news widgets as well. It's not something you can turn off, but you can turn it off as a whole, which is what we're going to do now. So just we'll quickly talk about the search bar. It's essentially the same. However, we have this right-hand side that is a bit of a feed, not all too different from the news feed, however, more catered towards an individual and less less media from various corporations put in your face, but more so just like things that are trending in just the most wide, in the widest variety possible, right? Like trending videos on the web. There's nothing specific about that. It's just what's trending, right? Everybody eats food, popular recipes, right? Just trending searches. And we also have the start button, which brings up a slightly new menu than you might have been used to before. But this is not all that different from previous versions. It's just slimmed down and allows you to have multiple pages of pinned tasks, or pinned programs, features, etc. So if I wanted to pin something to start, like Spotify, right, I can right click on the shortcut icon over here and then say pin to start. And then when I go back to start, scroll down, now Spotify is also there. So this is just the new start menu, and it also has the ability to get you into the search bar. So that is essentially the same as clicking down here. It's just another way to get into it. So sorry to go on a bit of a tangent or a side trip. Sorry to get a little sidetracked there, but figured I would mention that since we're using the search bar to get to taskbar settings. So once again, just like in Windows 10, this search bar is extremely useful, and I highly recommend using it as much as possible because it will allow you to get what you're trying to do done a lot faster, as well as help you find things when you're not sure where they are, whether that be a setting or a program or a file. So we're going to go ahead and go into taskbar settings, which is under personalization. So we also could have gone into settings and then gone personalization and then found the taskbar area. But you can also just search for it. That's just why I prefer that method, as well as highly promote the search bar feature. So what we're able to do is turn off things like widgets, which is absolutely what I'm going to do. I don't use Teams chat, so I'm going to turn that off. And then for those of you who might want to have some familiarity or some, sense of continuation of Windows 10, not thinking of it as too much of a different thing, you might want to put your taskbar over on the left, which is what it does. I just did, and now it basically looks just like it would in Windows 10 with slight differences. So I'm actually going to put that back into the center. And now I'm going to talk about something that I glossed over or sort of ignored, which is this right-click menu here. So the right-click menu is also something that has changed in Windows 11. As you might see, some of the things you might expect to see there aren't there, but they also might be hiding. So, for example, we have things like cut, copy, paste, rename, share, delete. We don't have paste there. And then there are some things that we just don't see at all. So we'd have to hit show more options to get the view that you might be used to when right-clicking on a shortcut or really anything within Windows. And that's not exactly a big deal. However, it can be annoying if you're looking for something that you know is there and it's not in the shortened version. So another thing that is different about Windows 11 is security, like I said. So one aspect of that is something you might remember from when having to upgrade to Windows 11, if that's what you did, having a computer that was originally Windows 10 and then updating it to 11, you may have had to check to see if your computer was compatible, or maybe it wasn't at first, and you had to do something to make it compatible. The most common thing that someone would have had to do was turn on a setting that is called TPM 2.0, something that is done in the BIOS menu um, prior to Windows fully launching. So a lot of computers had that capability, but it wasn't required for Windows 10, but it was required for Windows 11. So sometimes those need to be turned on in order to upgrade. So another security feature that was added was Windows Hello, which is a new type of sign-in option, basically just allowing for biometric data, such as a face scan or a fingerprint sign-in. Another change is sort of how the Microsoft Store functions. The previous iteration only allowed you to get apps for the computer specifically, but now it allows you to get apps that are for Android as well. So I think the key difference there would be the ability to actually, just download and use an Android app directly on Windows. Also, I'm sure this layout is a bit different than how it currently is in Windows 10, because why wouldn't they make it slightly different? Okay, so close that. Going back to things that are generally the same but look a bit different. That's what we have here. If we go to File Explorer. So to some of you, this might look, not all that different. To some of you, it might look extremely different than what you're used to. And you can customize it to, similar extents that you're able to before, but you are not able to easily replicate how File Explorer used to be, at least not yet. They might eventually add that into your customization options, but as of right now, you're sort of stuck with this new layout. So what is different about this? In Windows 10 and other versions of Windows before Windows 11, we had access to a toolbar up in this area that gave us a lot many more options beyond just cut, copy, paste, rename, share, trash, as well as sorting, viewing, filtering. Those were available, but there was also an array of other things. Some of those features you can still access, or you can still do some of those things, maybe by right-clicking and then going to show more options potentially. But the toolbar is no longer available, and you can't really get it back at the moment without doing anything that is potentially too tricky to really be worth it, like messing with your registry files, which I do not recommend looking into. I'm sort of just taking a look to see if they happen to change it and provide that option. And not that I see and not that I've seen online. So I still don't think that is the case. So generally, this is the theme in terms of what's different with Windows 11. So, you know, you could also say that maybe you might feel that OneDrive is more involved with Windows 11 when in reality it's pretty much just as involved as it was in Windows 10. Having your Microsoft account tied to uh, your creation of an account on a Windows machine is pretty much standard and unavoidable at this point. I don't think you can get around that in Windows 11, and maybe you could have in Windows 10, but it still hampered your ability to use Windows to its utmost. And so that might seem like it's different when in reality it's pretty much the same as it was. And that's what allows features like the new security feature, Windows Hello. Right. So the biometric sign-in ability would be available without Microsoft's ability to have an account that is not just local on this computer to have the data tied to. One other neat feature is the ability to use SnapGrid feature, SnapGrid technology, or features. It's a feature that's implemented now, and it's a little bit hard to show you without having the full screen being shared, but let me try anyways. So it's definitely going to be hard if I have the feature off. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. And now, when I hover over the maximize button in the top right corner of the window, it gives me a variety of options, and I think gives me quite a few options because of how large my screen is. So, if I were to choose this will probably not be on the screen at all, right? And it's not. So let me bring that back over. What that does is it will put the current window that you are, that you're in here and going to the maximize button in. It will put this window in the location and adequate size but in the correct scale on your screen. So if I choose the bottom left here, it'll put it in the bottom left, right? And then so this means that you want to know this is about quarter of my screen. So that means now it's in the bottom right corner. Now it's in the top right corner. Now it's in the top left corner. After choosing where the current window will go, it will then show you other open windows to put in the other sections of the pattern that you chose. So for instance, once again, if I were to choose this, it would show my other open windows and allow me to choose the next ones for each location. And then display those all at the same time on this on my desktop as a whole. And it would apply to whatever type of layout that you choose. You can also initiate this by dragging a window towards the edge of of your desktop, and then you might get the same pop-up with the different layouts. Also, it will potentially just expand or maximize if you were to just drag it up to the top of the screen. That's also another place where you can choose the different patterns and where you would want the window. So as you might be able to see, this blurred area is shifting around the screen because I am taking my window and placing it on top of the various different layout options, the same ones that you see here. So all in all, Windows 10 is not all that different from Windows 11, and these are the biggest differences that you might come across. And if you want to learn any more about it, feel free to come on down to SDM and set up an appointment so that we can go over anything in more detail or something specific you want to ask about. Thanks.